Hi, welcome to Project Geo. I'm Adam Simmons,
And I'm Mason Rothman.
and so we're a little bit late on the last couple episodes, but we're going to start again and see where's this episode going to take us this time, right?
Well, yeah, you're right. We have been a little busy preparing for the upcoming GEOINT conference we'll be going to next week, but we're going to start off this week with a neat little thing that I discovered while I was on Twitter, and it's a children's book for GIS. So if you're in the
Children's book for
GIS
GIS.
industry, what's that?
Children's book for GIS.
I know, it's about time, huh? So it's the next time a child asks you to explain what GIS is, you might want to read them this online book, right? And so, and it's Lindsey, the GIS specialist. The book is written by Tyler Danielson, who's a GIS specialist with the company. Anyhow, with the engineering company Bolton and Mink. Sorry about that. But the short book follows Lindsey, who works as a GIS specialist, as she explains what the acronym GIS means, the different types of GIS data, how she collects data, and what's some of the maps she makes are used for. So it's a really basic, down to earth explanation of what's going on in the mapping and maps, charts, and geodesy world that we live in. So it's really, really nice and highly recommended to all, especially if you have children or some children that are interested in this as well.
Have you read through the book yet?
No, I haven't got a chance to. I've just read people's reviews of it that I know, and I know it's really deep. I've been taking care of my own right now until he hits the age where he can start reading. He's only 1 right now, so but yeah, he'll definitely be getting a copy of this.
It's interesting. I understand. I'm just reading through the first couple pages here while you're talking about it.
Yeah, sure.
And it seems to be it's probably close to maybe a 5th or 6th grade level here, especially when they talk about data. Obviously, they're defining these words such as data and maps and geospatial, but even data is a complex thing for people to understand at a young age. What is data? So I don't imagine you telling this is a bedtime story to a 4-year-old, but like
But it might put him to sleep, Adam.
but somebody in a 5th or 6th grade level with today's technology, I'm sure would grasp this pretty easily. It may be a picture group, but the graphics, make sense. Of course, once again, they get into complex. Looks like they get into some complex terminology here. Once again, raster data, spatial data, vector data, and as long as that's relayed easily and they understand it, I'm going to show this to my daughter and see if she understands it.
Exactly. What grade is she in?
She's graduating 5th grade. I say graduating. I guess graduation's a thing now in school.
It is. It's the big thing. It makes them feel accomplished.
Well, this is really cool. I don't want to reveal the entire book here on the webcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely check it out. Good for getting your kids into the industry, and if you work in the industry, something that will help them understand what you do. Even if you're just a business person or some type of software engineer, this, hey, mom or dad works with this field. So awesome. So my find for this episode is I think it was a week or two we got this announcement related to Kleos Space.
Mm-hmm.
And this is interesting because over the last couple of years, we've heard of a company called Hawkeye 360, where they're going to be collecting commercially RF signals around the world globally, and finding commercial use cases, finding some type of commercial business use cases for those types of things. Typically, those types of areas of sensor collection was restricted to government use, but now with Hawkeye 360 trying to find commercial uses for this, we're tracking either AIS, ship tracking, or some type of, there's a ton of different things, RF signals, you can look for with RF signals and perform analysis with. You want to talk a little bit about that, Mason?
Yeah, it's what I've done for a good majority of my career is working with the signals folks, actually. So it's great to see this. And then there's also Spire too. That was another one.
So the point is, Kleos is another one. As of last week, I believe was the announcement. They went kind of with some kind of public announcement, and and they're another company doing RF data as a service from space. And so this is fascinating because before, Hawkeye 360 was the only one doing this publicly, straight up RF signals analysis. Now you do have, once again, you did briefly mention companies like Spire or other.
Or you mentioned Hawkeye 360.
I mean, other companies that do work in the RF spectrum, but they don't advertise as RF commercial analysis companies, at least publicly, not like as their primary way of advertising. But they do have that capability with, their, even though their primary business could be from spy or ship tracking, they can
Sure.
broaden their horizons and looking at the spectrum a little bit more.
Yeah,
So
it's interesting to me too. Whenever I see these emerging now, these commercial or these commercial satellite companies that are collecting RF now. And we already had the imagery piece there. That was kind of a no-brainer, and then the signal piece was being messed around with. But I think once again, a lot of this is probably coming from what's been done inside with the government, and they know how when you start putting all these layers of data together, how you can come up with the Paul Harvey rest of the story. So it's interesting to see how, in a way, government has helped move to. It's kind of like NASA has built things in the past, and then they trickle down. But this is very similar as well. That something like this has been worked on. Combining all these sources in the classified community for a while, although not even close to perfected. But it's great that these companies are coming out now. The whole thing is they're going to provide data, right? But what do we know about data? I can give it to you, but what are you going to do with it, right? So if you don't know what you're doing with this, then so be it. But if you understand how it all works together and combining the multiple layers to tell the complete story or more complete story, then you'll see where this is very, very useful, not just for ship tracking, but a multitude of reasons, from anything from satellite dishes that are kicking off C, KU, X band, etc. There's so many different, almost everything out there is
besides ship tracking, what's the commercial use case for this kind of stuff?
What would be a commercial use case for this?
Yeah.
Oh, well, hey, just like I pointed out, let's say that you're really interested in this, whether it's commercial from a competitor or from a foreign government, and they open up a satellite facility, or they just have a satellite facility, and you want to see what the heck, what's going on over there. You can go and see which dishes are active and which bandwidth they're on. Like I was mentioning, the C and the KU band and X band, et cetera. So then you can see what is actually happening and what is not. Maybe they're not putting off any signals at all. Maybe it's a faux setup type thing.
But from commercial companies that don't touch government, what would be a business use case for using this stuff?
Well, going right back to what I just mentioned, what else could you do with that satellite data if you know it's active or inactive? You could say how many subscribers somebody like a DirecTV or any satellite provider has, and then you could sell that to the New York Stock Exchange investors, et cetera, because you have real numbers at that point backed up by RF.
See, that's what I'm looking at right there. They're trying to find those consumer. What's the impact trickling down to the consumer? That type of thing.
And I know. Actually, we both know. Ask us. We know what to do with the data.
Yeah. So that's what I'm getting at. So not to dwell on that too much, we have another announcement that came. What was it? Today? Yesterday? For another new company that just went public.
Yeah,
went public, not on the stock exchange, but publicly known. They were in stealth mode for quite a while, 3 years, I believe, right?
Yeah, give them a couple of years to go public. Give JC a break. So our friend John Isaac Clark, that we've known from previous GEOINTs in the geospatial community, announced the launch of his company and the funding actually from who was the funder on that one, Adam?
Oh, the initial company was American Family.
There you go.
And weren't they? There was some kind of insurance company, weren't they?
Exactly.
So Arturo, what did they do?
Well, I sent out an article on it earlier. Let me bring that up again so I can just make sure that I don't mess up JC's stuff here too much. So he says just a bit over 3 years ago, data science and lab inside American Family Life Insurance was asked to tackle two particularly tough questions. Could satellite, aerial, drone, and ground level imagery combined with AI and machine learning substantially improve the quality and accuracy of property data? So this is an insurance company. They're wanting data. That's all there is to it, right? Because insurance companies have a ton of money, and they want the most efficient way to those insurance numbers, those insurance adjustments, et cetera. They want more numbers, more data, more facts, just like Wall Street would want. Insurance wants the same thing. So they're going to be looking what the return of investment is going to be for neighborhoods based on these requirements that American Family Insurance and risk propagations, all kinds of things dealt in there too.
Okay. So they're an analytics company supporting initially insurance companies.
Right.
But
That is correct.
they built their analytics off of machine learning or imagery based machine learning. It looks like, um, and so they're trying to incorporating, according to this slide that just popped up here, full loop deep learning. So the feedback loop, encasing the feedback loop, so that the training material and the image and the algorithms as a whole get better over time as they get used.
Yeah, they're going to be doing some great work over here, and I can't wait to see more out of them actually. And they have such a solid crew working over there from with JC and Ben Tuttle. There's some really rock star folks over there, so I can't wait to see. And it's great when we see stuff go over into the commercial world like this, especially because, as many folks know, that we deal more on the government sector. Hence, we're going to the GEOINT conference. It's GEOINT's more of a, even though it's transitioned a little bit, but it's government.
Well, so I found this paragraph interesting when I was reading the article that you brought up, and it relates to, here's an actual use case, right? So, first set of deep learning models that assessed physical property characteristics such as roof material and roof area within an underwriting team at American Family, and also validating the quality and accuracy of the output data via ground truthing against actual home inspection reports. The results were groundbreaking. And so what happens is a lot of these home inspection reports either happen when a house gets sold or gets inspected when a property gets renovated, or for whatever reasons. There's only certain circumstances somebody goes and inspects the house, evaluates it, and basically gets this assessment of what's actually going on there. And so this, you don't necessarily have to wait until something happens. You can ahead of time evaluate and the homes just based off of the current imagery alone, and measure what's actually there without waiting. So
right, and you're taking out the human factor too whenever it comes to like the judgment of, you're taking out a lot of that error in human judgment, that, or something could be written a certain way or made to look a certain way, but with this, the truth's right there in the image, right? So this is great that they're working on them.
So do you think something like this will help lower insurance premiums or raise them for the bulk of insurance providers?
I think it will help more accurately define what your insurance should be.
Good answer. Maybe you should work for the insurance company.
Yes. So, but no, I think it's great that they got funding from them, and that it's not just one of the traditional things like we see from Lockheed, General Dynamics, et cetera, which, love you guys, don't get me wrong, but it's great when we see somebody go out more into the commercial world and start going with insurance companies and big banks, et cetera. That's what we want to see.
Awesome. And one last little sentence here before we move on to the next topic. Physical properties are constantly changing, and being able to assess the most current state of the property has a significant impact on the real risk an insurer is taking on when underwriting a policy. So that I think highlights everything you just said. Obviously, it gets an accurate assessment of the property, and may help with lowering the cost for some and raising it for others based off of what's happened on the property. So anyway, yeah, it'd be really interesting to get a demo from JC's team at some point in the future. Hopefully on the show.
Yeah, that'd be great, actually. That'd be great.
So anyway, we're going to move on to the final topic for this episode, which is...
And what is it?
GEOINT 2019, the big GEOINT Symposium, which is going on June 2nd through 5th, 2019, this year in San Antonio, Texas. And Mason and I are flying out Saturday to be there.
Yeah, so we've been doing these for a while, haven't we, man?
We have. Some years have been better than others, and hopefully this year is going to be a real awesome event that we can provide some interesting coverage, especially the explosion of attention with this year's theme being mostly centered around machine learning.
Yep, machine learning and AI. There it is. That's what we're going after. So yeah, it'll be neat to see what commercial companies show up to this, because we typically go after those when we do podcasting there. or do our reporting from down there, or from GeoInt, we go after some of those smaller ones that will get tipped to by, folks like Keith Mosbach, et cetera. They'll tip us to folks that are some of the smaller, faster moving up companies, so we can cover them.
Well, and once again, our goal at these things isn't focus on, we're trying to find the unique differentiators. Now that, we can find 10 or 20 companies now doing machine learning, all seem to be some flavor of the same thing. Who's doing it differently? Why? How? And how are they going to come up against their competitors? What are those diamonds?
What you said's been on my mind a lot too, actually, lately, preparing for this, is that we're going to see a lot of, like we always do, duplication, triplication, quadruplication of effort on folks. But we have to really, sit down and pay attention and see what differentiates, where they're going with, and don't get me wrong, that's not an unhealthy thing, that actually duplication, because it just creates competition at the end of the day, right? So that's a healthy thing to have. We just need to see what differentiates and what people have that would really stand out. And is it really worth a damn at the end of the day, right? From our experience.
Absolutely. So I think we'll try to do another cast. You tell you what, we get there Saturday. We'll try and either cast either Saturday night or Sunday. As we review who we'll try to make some predictors. So it's like, hey, these companies to us sound interesting, and then we'll do a we'll talk on it post evaluation, post summary of the conference, and say, okay, these were kind of duds, and then these knocked us out of the park, or maybe a couple of these companies came out of nowhere and surprised us.
Right.
We'll highlight a couple products.
Oh, sorry.
We'll highlight a couple products that are interesting as well, maybe that have nothing to do with machine learning. I'm hoping to get some surprises in areas of analysis or geospatial intelligence that, just maybe don't get a lot of attention.
More SIGINT data, right? That'd be great too, or more just other data, period, right, to add to the geospatial mix.
Absolutely. All right. Well, anything else we want to touch about for GEOINT, or we'll have everybody wait and see?
Really looking forward to it, and we'll do. We can do one there when we land, or we can do one. We'll do one from the airport. Actually, there you go.
I mean that we'll see. All right. Well, thanks for watching this episode right before GEOINT 2019. I'm Adam Simmons,
and I'm Mason Rothman.
See you next time.